First day quiz.
Homework.
Quiz.
Homework.
All right, Steve.
Didn't get that email. Didn't get that email.
It was in the meeting last week.
Oops.
Let's move on, Jenny.
Move on. Okay. All right. While we wait for people, we'll go ahead and practice the breathing drill. We do teach a 3-1-5 method. What that means is breathing in through your nose for 3 seconds, pause and hold that breath for 1, and then breathe out of your mouth for 5 seconds. We'll go ahead and start this exercise meeting session with 5 breath cycles. I'll go ahead and do the counting. That way you can all follow along and you don't get lost in your own breath and so worried about it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start now. Let's take a breath in through our nose for 1, 2, 3, pause, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, pause, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, pause, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, pause, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, pause, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead. Let's try to maintain that breathing practice throughout this whole meeting. It is going to be challenging. I do know that some of us are on our phones a lot, and so our shoulders start to round when we're on our phones as we're not so focused on our breathing. It is really important to be mindful to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you exhale, do notice to bring your shoulders down away from your ears. As we get stressed and tired, we want to do this. So as you exhale, draw those shoulder blades back. Okay, so let's be mindful about that throughout this whole entire meeting, and we'll go ahead and start this meeting with Tony.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Josh, you have me on tech support?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's set this up. All right, so this is our first exercise meeting. This will be a weekly occurrence to go over some exercise tips to help you along. I want to start off by saying that it may be hard to start this journey. You may feel it may be difficult for you to get up and start moving with the assignments we might have done. You might have missed the videos we have done. We feel the same way. We've all felt that within 3 Wins, that this has occurred. It might have stopped us with different exercises for ourselves, starting a new program, or even like getting into the groove right now with COVID. Now, what we found is with this exercise is that it's gonna help you both physically and mentally. So we wanna be here and help you with the exercises. Now, for today's agenda, we're gonna be talking about first, identifying our family. Second, Desiree's episode number 2 on her journey. We're gonna go over some movement patterns, so get ready to move with Jenny and Chris. Then we'll go over some of the assignments that we are assigning you this week. We'll give you a nice tip on different things that could help exercise. More on that later. Josh is gonna go over the navigation on how to use the Back to Basics programs. We're gonna go over some social media, and then Dr. Loy will go over some observations and thoughts, and then we'll do some questions. All right, so let's start by identifying our family. Now, we asked you to look at the tree and to think if you're in the foundation, the prep, or the program. So in order for us to like divide you evenly tomorrow during our family meetings, we're gonna ask you to change your name right now on your Zoom. So what we want you to do, if Josh, you can just show us a grid view of everyone real quick. So if you click on your name, if you're using a laptop and you click on your name, right, you're gonna click on the dot on the top right-hand corner, and you're gonna rename yourself depending on what program you are. If you are an iPhone user or a phone user, click on participants, look for your name, you'll click on it, and you'll rename your name. Add whatever of the families you're going to be in at the very end, whether you're in the prep, foundation, or program.
Is there any confusion? Also, question to Josh: if people change this and they go on another Zoom call with their business, is the name going to be Stephen Lloyd Prep?
That I'm not sure if it stays on. I think if you are a an account user, so meaning that you actually have a Zoom account through your company, your business, I believe it's set so that it'll stay with you. But I think if you just join in without actually logging in, you have to rename yourself each time. So I'm not too sure how that one works.
So I would say if some of you use your Zoom for work and you're a little bit concerned that something comes up like mine, Prep, you may not want to change it, and we can sort you out later. But try it.
Yes, and this is just practice. If we have to rename our name for tomorrow, so you're ready for it tomorrow to be divided into your families. Okay, Josh, if you don't mind bringing up the PowerPoint again. And we have the instructions there as well in case you want to come back and look at it later. Now we'll go over the episode 2 for Desiree.
Hello, hi Desiree. Thank you for joining us again for our episode 2. Always great to have you here. So for this week's topic, we are going to be discussing stuff about anxiety. So I actually have a leading question that we can open up this conversation with. What anxiety do you have leading into the program?
For the whole year, I think my main anxiety is just getting stuck somewhere, not being able to work past something. And I mean, luckily, I know that I have plenty of great people on the team that can help me with that. So it would just be me not communicating it.
Well, good morning, Desiree.
Good morning, Dr. Stephen.
Good to see you. I'm really excited to kind of be on this journey with you and to follow how you're developing mindset ways to be able to kind of deal with some of the ups and downs of your training.
The thing that I've been dealing with lately has been anxiety and stress. Overall, when I weightlift, I don't really have any. So, because when I'm weightlifting, it's almost like I'm putting it on to the weightlifting, so I can just focus on the weightlifting.
Once you feel good mentally, it means let's keep on getting stronger and stronger and healthier mentally. And this may sound a little bit strange, but I want you to become friends with that anxiety. I want you to get to know it. If you are afraid of the anxiety, get to know what that fear is about.
Anxiety and stress will happen, and that's normal, and it's good to acknowledge it.
It's like this journey was an opportunity for us to all connect more too. So it's
Yeah,
so cool.
It's crazy. We live in crazy times that are uncertain, but what we are certain about is what we can do today.
Mine froze.
Yours froze?
Yeah.
It ended.
Okay, and now we have Desiree here to talk a little bit.
Hey everyone, it's so good to see some of your faces again. It's awesome that you're here. Just like last week, give yourself a round of applause, pat yourself on the back. Anxiety is the topic of the week, and this last week I definitely didn't feel like working out. I had to find some things to keep me active, and sometimes it can be hard. I think in general, getting started can be one of the hardest things, but even us as kinesiology majors, we're very passionate about body movement, but when life happens, it's hard to keep that routine. And so it's really good that you're here, and just keep in mind that any work that you put in, whether it's 10 or 15 minutes a day, you know, it's work and it counts. So that's good. So let's try to aim for that consistency, you know, just working in like any time that we can a day and making it habitual. It can really make a difference. And like overall, yeah, everything that any work we put in is valuable. So it's good to see you all here, and I'm glad that you're all here.
Thank you, Desiree, for sharing. Okay, so next we're gonna go over some movement patterns we went through. I'm gonna pass it on to Jenny and Chris so we can get up a little and practice some movements. Now, if you're not comfortable, you can turn off your video while you practice these movements, but Jenny and Chris will be showing you what we went over this past week.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, great. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Find a little space where you feel comfortable. We're gonna start with the breathing drill first, okay? I'm gonna give 2 options here, one for those who are not able to get on and off the floor, and one for those who are able to get on and off the floor. If you're able to get on and off the floor, go ahead, find a spot and lay on your back. Okay, and then those who cannot, you go ahead and sit on the chair. We're going to start off with the breathing drill again. Some of you came onto the call on time, and so you're able to experience. However, when you do breathe out, I want you to be mindful to bring your hips and ribs together into a coil canister and dropping those shoulders away from the ears. Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Let's breathe in through our nose for 1, 2, 3. Pause for 1. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3. Pause, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And go ahead and do 2 more breath cycles of that, team. All right, next up, we're gonna do a little bit of wrist stretches, okay? If you are sitting on the chair, that's okay. What I want you to do is to imagine that you are giving me a virtual high five, and then you're gonna pull your fingertips towards your body, let a breath out. Reset, let your fingertips go, breathe in, pull, and then breathe out. You'll go ahead and do that, all right, while I go ahead and show the second version for getting on and off the floor, okay? For this one, if you're able to get on and off the floor, wrists are gonna be stacked right under your knees, wrists stacked right under your shoulders, knees stacked right under your hips, toes dug in. You're gonna turn your fingertips towards you. Then from here, you're gonna spread your shirt, nice breath in. And then as you breathe out, bring your tush to your heels. If this is a little uncomfortable, that's okay. Just breathe through it. Or ease forward a little bit and find a place that is comfortable for you. You also have the option of going side to side. So you can put your hands side to side too. This is going to be a little bit different. A tip for wrist mobility, if you want to measure your wrist mobility and do some exercises to see if it's improving, your palms should be like a T, okay? And so some of us who are on the computer a lot, we're going to have pretty tight wrists. And so it is important to make sure that we stretch our wrist and see if this is improving, okay? Now that we've gone through our wrist, we're going to go ahead and move on to our thoracic rotation drill. All right, if you are sitting on the chair, I'm going to pull up this chair here. We're going to imagine that we have an imaginary beach ball. We're planting our feet into the floor. We're going to take a nice breath in, shoulders away from your ears. And then you're going to drive your feet into the floor as you breathe out. If you feel a little cramp, that's okay. That's your body telling you, hey, you gotta work on this, okay? Our bodies are really smart, so it'll tell us if we need to work on something. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Really important to drive those feet as you turn out to the side. For those of you who are able to get on and off the floor, we are going to do a long 1/2 kneel with the T reach. Okay? What that means is you're in your tall kneeling position. You're going to bring your leg forward, walk it forward a bit, and then you're going to place your hands next to your foot. From here, knee should be down. Okay, if you want to challenge yourself, you can pick your knee up. It should be piped straight in the back. All right. From here, whichever hand is closer to your foot, grab your opposite rib cage, dig that elbow in, take a nice breath in, and then reach for the sky as you push the floor away with your hand and your foot. You should get about 5 or 6 on each side. I see some of y'all are doing the seated one. Chris is doing some standing ones. Oh yeah. Ooh, Kate's got it down. She knows these drills. Lanark taught her very well. You see Jasmine doing it. Letty's doing a beautiful job. Same with Yesenia and Alex. Ooh, Desiree's getting down on the floor. You go, girl. Nice, Letty. Meredith, beautiful. Cool. And Joshua, I see his blue 365 Journey to Health background. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our ankles. If you're going to do any drill, I would definitely, well, all of these are really important. You can't really say you have a favorite exercise because that's like going to the doctor and saying, what's your favorite medicine? So all of these are important to you. Okay, ankle mobility drill now. For those of you who cannot get on and off the floor, let me see. I'm going to put this camera right here. Hopefully you can see me well. You should have a wall, okay? You have your wall. You're going to put one foot in front of the other for this one. One foot in front of the other. And what you're going to do is take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, you're going to drive your knees towards your toes. If you need to come a little closer, you can use the wall as guidance and drive your knees towards your toes. You should be feeling a stretch on the back of the ankle that is behind the front foot. Okay, and you can add about a 2-second pause as well to really force the dorsiflexion there. For those of you who are able to get on and off the floor, a great ankle mobility drill is what we call an open 1/2 ankle mobility drill. We do this in a lot of our warm-ups for the lives. Okay. Going into your tall kneel position, which means on both knees, you're going to open it up to half kneel. And then you're going to take that leg, you're going to sweep it out to the side. Okay. Inside of your foot should be nice and aligned with your knee. From here, you're going to grab your hands. You're going to staple and push your foot down into the floor. Glue it there. Then from here, easy. Spread your shirt, nice tall chest. Breathe in and then breathe out. Drive the shin towards your toes. Very common mistake is your heel's going to want to come up. Make sure that heel stays nice and down. Breathe in and then drive your foot into the floor. Hold it there for about 2 or 3 seconds. And then for this ankle one, I believe in the video we have about 8 or 10 on each. However, right now you can do about 5 to 6, whichever one you prefer. If you want to do both, go ahead and do both. If you're feeling it more towards your hip, go ahead and bring that heel a little closer to your knee. Okay? Bring the heel a little closer to the knee if you feel it in your hip. Cool. Great. Alex loves these. All right. How'd that feel? Are these exercises okay? Are y'all feeling it? Okay. See, nothing too strenuous. It's just a nice little movement that you can do throughout the day. If you need a little pick-me-up, you need to wake up. Okay? All right. We're done with the mobility part. If you want to look at more, you can always go onto our YouTube. It is unlisted, so just make sure to click on the link of the PDF that we show and or tune into the Facebooks. Chris, let's see your push-up and hinge.
It should all be review, correct? if
Yes,
everyone
this
did
is
their
the homework.
homework.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nice and good. Cool. I'm gonna be a little loud. I'm gonna walk back. We're gonna start off with the hinge before we get into the push-up, since we're already all standing. Okay. So to get into proper hip hinge position, we want to slight bend in our knees, and all the movement comes out of our hips. We're gonna push the hips back, dropping the chest, coming down slowly. Ideally, we want to reach a parallel position, that tabletop position, but go as far as you can go. You'll feel the tension start to create in the back of your leg. Once you feel that tension, you can stop and slowly come back up. Push those hips back, drop that chest, keep that back nice and straight, come back up. Find your ideal position where you start to feel that tension build in the back of the leg, and come back up. Awesome. Everybody's hip hinges are looking amazing. Give me 2 more reps and we're going to start off with our first push-up modification. Alrighty, everyone. As you see in that movement, that the hips are so important. Moving the hips, being able to push that back, that's where all that movement comes from. Going on to our push-up, if you can't get down into the floor, our first variation is going to be a standing chest press. You're going to need something you could create tension with, a resistance band or a t-shirt. Grab that t-shirt, pull it apart, create that tension. Keep your hands at shoulder width, and we're going to tuck those elbows in, bringing that t-shirt in nice and close, and then we're going to press. Bring that t-shirt in nice and slow, tuck those elbows, keep them on the side of your body, and then press that t-shirt forward. Bring it in nice and slow, and press that t-shirt forward. I'm going to transition to coming onto the floor so we can show you guys the traditional push-up. So coming down into traditional push-up, we're going to come into a high plank position. We can start off on our knees to find our position for our hands. We want our wrist, our elbow, and our shoulder all in line, stacked over each other. Once you find that position, feel free to extend those legs out. Keep that back nice and neutral, and we're going to come down. Same as before, we want our elbows to be tucked in. Come down, pull, and push back up. If the traditional push-up is still too difficult, our last variation is an assisted push-up. We're going to come back down to that all fours position. Find our position for our hands, and then we're going to walk it forward to extend the hips. My back is still nice and neutral, flat. And across my feet, bring it back down to the floor. And same as before, we're going to come down, keeping our elbows tucked, and coming back up. All the movement for this push-up comes out of the elbows. Good job, everyone. That was last week's homework.
Is there a modification they can do off of the wall, Chris?
Off of the wall? Yeah, I can demonstrate that. Let me pick you guys back up. Let's see. Alrighty. If you need a modification off of the wall right here, we extend hands out. We're keeping that same push-up position, our back nice and neutral. We're going to be about 2 feet away from the wall. And again, the movement comes out of the elbows, bend, come down, and back up. If you need to get closer, you can. It's important to keep that wrist, elbow, and all in line. We never want to come out to a big T, or we never want to flare those elbows out as we're coming down.
No, you do not. Right. Because you're using more than your tricep now. That's all tricep.
All right, Josh. So as we just went over with Chris and Jenny, we have these videos that were given out as last week's assignment. If you haven't checked them out, we ask that you go check them out. They are linked onto this PowerPoint, which will be sent out later. It is also on our calendar of events. If you haven't seen it, check out the calendar of events. It has everything you need, including the aerobic video when we talk about how intense you should be doing your walks, your jogs, and runs. Links there as well, just in case. So for this week, our homework assignments for this week include a video by Jenny that includes shoulders and hips. These are an add-on to the videos that she had from the previous weeks. So make sure to combine the two as you watch both of them. Next, what we want you to do is start to follow along the back to basics exercises, depending on your group, on your family. Whether you're prep, foundation, or program, we're gonna have you start this week. And as you perform these exercises, make sure you're filling out those sheets that Arlene gave out that are on the website as well. And last, don't forget about your 30 minutes of aerobic activity for at least 5 days. And then rewatch those previous videos, practice those movements, and make sure to do it. Now, what we're gonna do is show a small snippet of Jenny's mobility video.
Hi, 3-1 Fitness, this is Coach Jenny Vo, and we're going to be doing a level 1 mobility for our shoulders and for our hips. First thing is to find a wall. We're going to take a step to the side of the wall, okay? From here, we're going to stand up nice and tall. We're bringing our imaginary tailbone in, making sure that our hips and ribs are in one line. Then, whichever arm is closest to the wall, we're going to start bringing our thumb up to the sky. From here, shoulders should be dropped away from the ear, and then we're going to follow through and turn our pinky down. You see how my hand touches the wall? That is because I need to work on my shoulder mobility. So if this happens, do not force yourself to go through because you will collapse your shoulder on the other side. If that's the case, just take a step a little bit further, and what you can do is measure the distance from where you are at, and then see how you can progress from there. Okay? The full range is going up here, and then diving down, pinky
All right,
going.
Josh. And then as I was reading the comments, I heard that, I see that it was low. This video is accessible to you on the calendar and as well as when this is sent out to you. So it should be at a greater volume when listening it on your own devices.
Josh, can you take us to the calendar and last week's exercises, show us where those are, or can we click on last week's session and find them on there as well?
Yeah, so I'll pop up the calendar. So last week during the orientation, or excuse me, the launch meeting, that is when homework was assigned. So each one of those videos are posted up as well as the PowerPoint slides. And so this will be exactly how we're going to do it this week. So to access the PowerPoint that we're presenting for this week, as well as any links and homework, then you would then have to go to the event in which that happened, which is right here, exercise 7 to 8 p.m., importance of exercise with 3-1 Fitness. You'll click on that. and it will show up right above this icon, this exercise logo. I'll post up the PowerPoint. I'll post up the recording of this Zoom, as well as the videos that are assigned for homework.
So those are new to the program could go to last week and do the last week's homework, and you're all caught up.
It's all easily and accessible right there in the calendar. All right, so for the tip of the week is water. It is summer, it is hot, especially where I'm living. It gets up to about 105 some days. So it's important to get that water intake. So the average person needs about 0.5 ounces of water per pound of body weight per day. You wanna make sure you're getting the proper water intake, because with proper water intake, it minimizes dehydration, it prevents increases in body temperature, and it prevents declines in performance. When you're looking at your urine, you want to try to have the most clear urine that you could possibly have. So the thirst mechanism, when you start to feel thirsty, that's already a warning sign that you're past the point of dehydration, that your body already knows it. So make sure you fill up with a lot more water than you might think you need. Now, it might be challenging for some of you to keep measuring the amount of water. So what we suggest is either getting a gallon or a pitcher that you already know the amount of water is a set amount, how many ounces is in that pitcher or gallon, and then use that as your measuring tool to tell you how much water you have been drinking for that day. Remember, it's half your body weight in ounces for the water. All right, Josh, if you want to show us a quick guide on how to use the different programs for Back to Basics.
Yes. Hello, everybody. And I actually just responded to a question related to how to access the checklist that Arlene had created. And so I'm going to go starting from the home page of our website. So from here, if you go to Programs at the top in the header, under Back to Basics. So when you see this B2B logo, you know you're in the right area. There's a couple links that you can go to depending on the program that you're following, be it the Prep Program Foundation or our program. The way you access it is pretty much similar, because I've created each page very similarly to each other. So I'm going to be going on the B2B Prep program. When you open up the page, you're going to have this step list, right? For the prep program, there's 4 steps. The rest of them are 3. So your first step is completing that physical activity readiness questionnaire, that PAR-Q that we talked about during the kickoff. Series of 7 questions. You can download this as a PDF. It'll open up in a new tab if you're on a computer, or it'll open up a new tab on your phone. Both the English and Spanish versions are on this file. You do not need to turn this in at all to us. This is for your reference only. If you do answer yes to any of the questions, even if it's just one, we recommend you talk with your doctor, your primary physician, so that you can get clearance. And again, send them the link to the program that you're going to be using, because it has the exercises that they can see to determine if these exercises are appropriate for you. Going on to that second step, for the prep program, we do have a guided calendar that you can follow. And so if
Josh,
you click, yes.
You froze for a little bit. Can you just go over a little bit?
Yes, where did you last hear me?
You just started talking about page 2.
Okay, so from here, we do have a guided calendar for the prep program. If you click on this, it will open up a link. And then from here, each one of these days, you can click on a link that will take you to the workout for that day. I did get an email asking if there were going to be a calendar for the other programs. We will try and work on that so that you can follow along, likewise with this guided calendar. Next step is the exercise checklist. So there's one in English and there's one in Spanish. Either one, if you click on it, again, it'll open up a new tab. If you are on a computer, you can type into this PDF. So let's say in the prep program, I'm working on phase 2. I'll type in the 2 there. My weekly goal is to complete 2 workouts this week and walk 30 minutes for 3 days. For those of you that are completely sedentary, this is a pretty feasible goal because it's pretty hard to go 5 days a week, 30 minutes if you've never done anything. So establish your weekly goal and then keep track of it. And then again, you can identify the exercises that you've done, write any notes. Maybe I was feeling tired in day 1. You can keep track of your cardio. Maybe you walked for 30 minutes. And then day 2, you ran for 10 minutes. So again, this is only, you can only fill this in on a computer. It won't work on a mobile device, unfortunately. But you can also print these out. If you have the luxury of having a printer at home, you can print all of these out. We recommend getting yourself a binder, 3-hole punch, put them in there, and you can keep track of your progress as you go through this program. So going back, step 4, you'll start your journey below. So if you cycle down, each one of the phases are outlined, phase 1, 2, 3, all the way through 6. And it'll identify the instructor who's going to be working in these videos, some things to know, and then as well as a breakdown of how many repetitions and sets to start with and then progress. The rest of the programs are, as I said, the same setup. So even our foundation page, it will still have the same 3 steps. That PAR-Q, downloading the exercise checklist. The exercise checklist is different in the program than it is for the foundation and our prep program. So if you see in our foundation, everything's been outlined for you. And then the 3rd step going down, we did add our different languages to the foundation program. So this is the getting down and up off the floor program. Each of the languages that we have 2 Spanish, a Tagalog, Vietnamese and Japanese languages, as well as English. And then finally, our B2B program. And again, same 3 steps. You have your checklist right here that you can download. You can fill in on as a PDF. And then scrolling down the 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then the day that you're exercising. Well, actually, we'll hold off on the questions for now until we get through. If you do have any questions that you want to put in the chat, I'll answer them as Tony continues on.
So before we move on to the next page, I'm actually going to pass it to Agnes so she can talk about her social media real quick.
You're on mute, Agnes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who don't know me, I am the social media coordinator for 3 Wins. We did recently, last week, have our social media webinar where we went through a tutorial on how to make a Instagram and a Facebook. We do want to drive our participants and everyone to the different outlets that we have. So those who do have a Facebook, we do invite you all to also have an Instagram and follow us on our Instagram page. We did do a recording of our webinar, and we've also provided some PDFs, a video, and a bunch of tools that you can use to not only navigate your way through how to create an account, but also we touch base on how to make a post on specifically for Instagram, because Instagram and Facebook are very different. And we also go into the use of hashtags. So while I have all of you here, I would like to invite you to use 3 of our hashtags, which is hashtag 365 Journey to Health, hashtag Back to Basics, and hashtags 3 Wins Fitness. And again, you can find all of our, I believe, Joshua, you're going to add it to our website, correct?
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. So you can all find all our tools when it comes to social media onto our website as well.
Okay. I believe we have some words from Dr. Loy now.
Hi, everyone. I asked the students for the last 5 minutes of today's meeting. I wanted to share with you that indeed I have subscribed and I have started my journey. When did I do that? This morning. Why? Because I wasn't ready last week. I needed to clear some things, some cobwebs out, make sure I was in a good place to say, okay, I'm ready to start my journey. And today it's going to be a good day. So my journey actually started yesterday to make sure that it was a good day, and it continues. So I'm on day 2. Some of you have not registered yet. Some of you have not committed. I'm going to ask you to do so. Here's the reality. We may only do this 1 year, and this is it. You don't know if we're going to do it another year. So I would encourage you that this be your year. I know some of you haven't done your homework. We watch. We can see when the videos are opened up, the mobility, the aerobics, the strength. They're not being all opened up by all of you. Now, we can't know exactly which one of you hasn't opened it, but as a group, we are not being supportive of everyone by doing our homework. If we're going to be successful, then what we want to do is we want to work together. We want to have accountability to each other. So look at the videos. And I think if you look at them, you're going to be surprised as well. Try them. Try the movements in the foundation. Try the movements in phase 1 through 6. I believe you're going to be surprised at some of the things that you can do and some of the things that you can't do. And you know, Ethan, Gabby, the students, they're in their 20s. They are different than we are in the sense of flexibility, in the sense of fitness. At least most of them are. I mean, you see Ethan. Ethan says, move your hand up here and follow with your head. And so what happens when you try it? The arm goes up, but your head stops halfway. That's okay. That's where your head is right now. And if you work on it consistently, it's going to go further and further. So some of you had some sense of in your head of who are you? You know, are you program? Are you foundation? Are you prep? And some of you may have been surprised. Some of you might have been disappointed. Some of you might view it as, oh no, I don't want to be in the prep program. Well, that's what 365 days Journey to Health is about, is that we all start where we start. Nobody knows, you know, but you have a sense of where you're at now and where you can go. Start where you belong. If you belong in prep, phase 1, then start there, join Alicio, and start moving with Alicio. If you look ahead to phase 6 and you see Alex, and you see a move that Alex makes, and you say, oh, I can't do that. Well, how do you know that you can't do that given enough time? We've said as a guideline, each phase should be about 4 weeks. For some of you, it may be 2 weeks. For some of you, it may be 6 weeks. It is what it is. Just get started. We're coming at you with nutrition information because where do you want to start? You need to have some information. We're going to provide that to you, but don't worry, it's coming. It's coming this month. Start with the exercise. Carve out that 45 minutes. I'm serious. Carve it out. You may want to add to it as we start to give you things and as you start to feel better. I've talked to Jenny. I've said, yeah, you know, I know you've been talking to me about this for this last year, but I'm serious now. Let's do the mobility. She and I had a conversation this morning. I'm going to have a conversation with Chris. Yeah, I know you've been talking to me about the strength. We are going to do that. And I've contacted him today. So start your journey. Commit yourself. You came, you had that hopes and dreams. Maybe you were hoping it was going to be magic, and we're going to give you the magic potion, push the button, and everything was going to be okay. And then you found out, well, I have to do something. I have to work. I have to pay attention. I have to look at videos. I have to do the videos. I have to search a little bit within the internet to figure out how this works. 365 days, that's why. You aren't behind. But if you don't get started pretty soon, you will be. because you won't have the same start that we all have had. So get on board, reach out to your friends, tell them to get started now. Join us, look at the videos, do the homework assigned. Most of you have been to school. Now, what happened in math class, which meant 5 days a week, and you didn't do math for the first couple of days? You didn't do your homework. You felt behind. And if you didn't do it for a week, what are they talking about? Start your homework now. Turn it into yourself, okay? Commit to yourself. Look to us for support. We're here, we're a family, we're accountable to each other, we're here to help each other. So get on board. I'm with you. I need to lose weight to get the goal that I want to get to. What do I need to lose? I'll tell you right now, it's 17 pounds. Because that's where I think if I do the rest of the stuff, that I'm going to be able to reach the SMART goal that I've set for myself. So you're all different. We're all on a different journey. Don't compare the absolute amounts of weight loss, of distances you want to walk, of things you want to carry. Don't compare. The journey is the same for all of us. We are on a journey. Exactly what is going to be different. That doesn't matter. All right? I'm on board with you now. Took me a week extra, and that's after talking about it all summer. So get on board. Thank you. Okay, Tony. Any questions, right?
Muted, Tony.
My bad. This brings us to the end of presentation. If you have any questions, please ask them. We are here to support you. Like I stated earlier, like Dr. Loy stated, like everyone else has stated, we want to be able to provide the most to you all.
If you all, really quickly, if you go to participants, can you all see at the bottom
Hey,
a
Josh.
raise hand feature?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. If you click on participants at the bottom, do you see a raise hand feature? So if you have a question, go ahead and raise a hand, and then I will call on those as I see them. So the first one I see is Alex.
Oh, I was just testing it out. My bad.
Okay. All right. Janwin.
I have a question for Jenny.
Yes.
When she talks about the rib, hips coming together,
Mhm.
I have heard the term the C curve or contracting your transverse abdominis muscles. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, I like to say it in words where people can relate more to it, since not everyone is going to understand what the transverse abdominis is. And so when I say bring your hips and ribs together, what I'm also, another cue that you can use too is tuck that imaginary tailbone in. That way you help flatten out your back, because a lot of the times, especially this happens for, I see this in a lot of women since I coach mostly women, we tend to be in that tilt position, and so bring that tailbone in so that way you can contract this. Some people like to say brace, however I find it more effective to say tuck that tailbone in or bring your hips and ribs together.
I've heard also that is it the same as trying to fit into a pair of really tight jeans where you suck it in? Is that the same thing?
Ooh,
Your jeans that you used to fit years ago.
I wouldn't say so.
No?
Some people say that. However, like when people do that, I'm already thinking of the movement pattern that's happening up here. People are going to want to bring their shoulders up. So I wouldn't say that's as effective.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, Jenny, you have a question?
I have a comment. I wanted to bring up what's going on tomorrow. A lot of us, for instance, tomorrow we are going to meet our families. So tomorrow we're going to have a little bit of mobility education. However, we're going to focus more on how to set our short-term SMART goals in order to get to our long desired result, whatever we had planned for the 365-day journey to health. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to break that down, and we're going to go over the sheets again, and then we're going to do a little bit of splash of mobility education, and then you'll get to meet your families. So I wanted to give everyone a heads up.
Awesome. Any other questions from the group?
If you're not comfortable speaking, you can write it in the chat.
We could also see whether or not everyone is going to do their homework this week by that same hand function, correct? If they are going to do their homework, they can press the hand, or they can just put their hand up here.
Oh yeah,
and
they
say,
can raise their hand too if you wanted to. Yeah, we can do
raise your
that.
hand if you're going to do your homework. Scroll through that real quickly, Josh. Are there hands
So
up?
go ahead and use the
Oh,
raise
Laura has
hand
2
feature
hands
on
up.
Zoom. Raise your hand up on Zoom. There you go.
Okay.
So I
Raise
got
your hand.
Lindy, Irma. Oh, there we go. Nice. That's a great one.
It's all key.
So
It really is all key, everybody. If you don't start doing the homework, it's not going to happen. And pretty soon a month will come by and you'll say, oh, it's too late now. A month has gone by. So really get on it. If that SMART goal is real for you and you're going to achieve it, and I assume that when you set your SMART goal for a year, you didn't do something that could be accomplished in 2 weeks. You put something inspirational, aspirational, that you hope to accomplish in a year. And the only way that happens, and that's what Jenny will talk about yesterday, is setting those short-term goals. There's something that has to occur at the end of a month if your goal is going to happen at the end of a year. So you've got to identify those. You don't want to get to the 360th day and find out, oh, this is not going to happen in 5 days. I mean, that's what our students do in the classroom, right? They say they want to get an A, and then the night before the exam, they start studying. Not going to happen. So put yourself back in school mode. This is not a semester. This is 2 semesters. This is 3 semesters. Do the homework. If Jenny's exercises today, and I would say Jenny's with the mobility, because some parts of that mobility are harder than Chris's strength exercise. When she put her hands backward, it was like The Exorcist, right? Turning their heads all around. And the hands don't go that way normally. And if you found your hands didn't go that way, or I saw Meredith, doing the T. Has anybody got a T? That's a good looking T. Oh, look at Arlene's.
Arlene's.
Check Arlene's out.
How?
Those look like feet. That's amazing. So these are ways to check yourself. These are ways to check yourself that you may not have done before because you didn't know that people could do that, or that the hands could go in that direction. You haven't done that in a long time. So do check it out and find out where you belong and embrace where you're at. Okay, I'm in prep, I'm in program, I'm in foundation, because there's parts of me that don't work in each one of those. And that's likely where you're at. Some of you can probably sit pretty well. It's the next step, right? So start your journey. Starts tomorrow. Last chance for questions.
we did have a question in the chat related to exercising on an empty stomach. My go-to recommendation is to have something light. Some people can do it in a fasted state. So right when you get up, right, you haven't eaten anything and you exercise. Just know that the more rigorous the activity is, the more high intensity likelihood you're going to need some type of fuel. So something really light. Don't load up on a huge breakfast, bagel, toast, oatmeal, have something light. You know, you can have a banana, maybe a half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You get a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate in there. Your best friend is going to be some type of carbohydrate if you're doing a rigorous activity. So those of you that are in the program, likely as the weeks go by, you're going to need some type of light breakfast in the morning. If you do it in the morning. Those of you that are in the foundation and prep may be able to get away with not eating anything, but again, we still recommend something light. It won't hurt you by any means.
You know how Jenny talked about the computers being part of the problem with our wrist mobility? If you think about it, that many of us on this call, 30 years ago, we started working on the computer, 30 to 35 years ago. And we have kids now who are starting on the computer at a much earlier age. So some of the things that we're talking about now, check them out with your kids. See where their wrists are. Likely they can do it still. But if they don't, then they've got an additional 25 years of this kind of work ahead of them. And so the things that you learn, share it with your family. It's important. It's going to be a challenge. It's very uncomfortable, some of these movements, but I would encourage you to engage in them. I think it's really important. Bring your friends, get them on. Oh, you know what that is? It's my alarm telling me it's time for me to go for my 30-minute walk. So this meeting is over. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Any last
Laura
chat?
gonna walk with you?
Is Laura? Well, ask her.
Laura, are you gonna walk with your man?
Oh, she said yes. Now she's
Yes.
committed.
Okay, I'm great. That's great. Great to hear
Thank
that.
you, everybody, for coming. We also have, I know you can't make, all of you can't make this, but for the next few weeks, starting next week, Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we are going to have something on nutrition where we're going to give you some tools to work on, but we will record that session if you can't make it. It's going to give you some specifics that you can start to engage in. So that starts next Tuesday, and it'll go for 3 weeks.
Dr.
So,
Lloyd, isn't that on Wednesday? I thought I read the email. It said Wednesday.
We'll let you know. Is it Wednesday? I think it is Wednesday.
Before our meeting. Our
Wednesday, yeah. Wednesday at 10. So we'll get that information out to you. Welcome aboard once again. Keep it up. We're in our second week. Get started. Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you later, everybody. Have a good one.
Family meeting tomorrow.
Yes, and follow us on our social media.